The year is 1815. Paris is reeling from defeat at Waterloo. Napoleon, once the master of Europe, is gone, exiled for good. In his place, Louis-XVIII, a Bourbon king, returns, escorted by foreign armies. The tricolor flag is replaced by the white banner of monarchy. For Parisians, it feels like history is running in reverse. The city is tense. Prussian and British soldiers patrol the streets, a daily reminder of humiliation. Neighbors turn on each other, denouncing Bonapartists to the new authorities. Veterans of Napoleon's army, once heroes, are now outcasts, suspected, shunned, and feared by the new regime. Aristocrats reclaim lost lands, walking the streets with entitlement. The silence after Waterloo is uneasy, filled with suspicion and betrayal. France is lost between two worlds, the ideals of the revolution and the return of monarchy. The years from 1815 to 1848 are often overlooked, but they are a crucible for modern politics. Can monarchy coexist with revolutionary ideals? Can a nation heal after decades of war? These are not just questions for kings and politicians, but for ordinary people struggling to find their place in a world turned upside down. The Bourbon Restoration is not peace, it's a simmering conflict. France is a nation divided, wrestling with its identity. The story of these years is one of resilience, betrayal, and the search for a new France. The wounds of revolution and empire are still raw. The struggle for liberty, equality, and fraternity is far from over. The stage is set for decades of turmoil. With the king restored, France is swept by the White Terror, a wave of royalist revenge. Royalist mobs hunt down anyone linked to Napoleon or the revolution, from soldiers to suspected sympathizers. Violence is personal and brutal. In Marseille, Mamelukes are massacred. In Avignon, Marshal Brune is murdered and thrown into the Rhône. Authorities turn a blind eye, sometimes even encouraging the bloodshed. Special tribunals prosecute traitors. Marshal Ney, once a hero, is executed. No Bonapartist is safe. The White Terror exposes deep divisions. Ultra-royalists want to erase the revolution, while liberals and Bonapartists cling to its ideals. France is not one nation, but two, locked in bitter conflict. The new kingdom is built on fear and retribution. The wounds of the past are reopened, not healed. The White Terror is just the beginning of a long struggle for France's soul. The battle lines are drawn for the decades ahead. Louis XVIII faces an impossible task, reconciling old monarchy with revolutionary France. Ultra-royalists want the past restored. Louis knows that's impossible. His answer, the Charter of 1814, a constitution presented as a royal gift. It promises equality before the law, freedom of religion, and a parliament, yet keeps real power with the king. The charter reassures the new middle class their property is safe, but also pleases conservatives by upholding Catholicism as the state religion. Life is a strange mix of old and new. Aristocrats return to court, but political debate flourishes in the press. Parliament is a battleground, though only the wealthiest can vote. Louis tries to balance both sides, resisting the extremes of the ultra-royalists. The assassination of the Duke of Berry in 1820 tips the balance. Ultras crack down on dissent, press freedoms are curtailed, and voting rights are restricted. Louis, aging and frail, cannot hold the center. By his death in 1824, the fragile compromise is collapsing. The pendulum swings back toward reaction. The struggle between old and new France intensifies. The monarchy's future is more uncertain than ever. Charles VI, Louis's brother, takes the throne. A true believer in absolute monarchy. He revives ancient rituals, signaling a return to divine right and the old order. His policies alienate the public. Nobles are compensated for lost lands, paid for by the middle class. A law-making sacrilege punishable by death horrifies liberals. Opposition grows in parliament and on the streets. Fashion itself becomes political. Every choice, your hat, your newspaper, signals your allegiance. In 1830, Charles issues the 4 ordinances dissolving parliament, silencing the press, and restricting voting. It's a royal coup d'etat. Charles fatally underestimates Paris's mood. The city is ready to explode. The king's stubbornness sets the stage for revolution. The old order is about to face its reckoning. The 4 ordinances spark immediate revolt. Journalists and printers defy the ban, distributing pamphlets and rallying Parisians. Students, workers, Republicans and Bonapartists flood the streets. Vive la Charte echoes through Paris. Barricades rise and the city becomes a battleground. Soldiers hesitate to fire on their fellow citizens. The revolution gains momentum. An opera singer, Adolphe Nourri, leads the crowd in La Marseillaise, inspiring the insurgents. For 3 days, Les Trois Glorieuses, Paris is in open rebellion. The tricolor flag returns, key buildings fall to the revolutionaries. Charles X abdicates and flees, hoping to save the dynasty, but it's too late. Politicians and bankers, fearing a republic, choose Louis-Philippe, the Duke of Orléans, as king. He is presented as a liberal compromise, a king for the people. The last Bourbon king is gone. The July monarchy is born. Revolution has once again reshaped France. The struggle for a new order continues. Louis-Philippe becomes the citizen king, promising a monarchy for the people. He rejects royal pomp, walks the streets with an umbrella, and sends his sons to public schools. The July monarchy is a government for the bourgeoisie, bankers, merchants, and factory owners. The motto, enrichissez-vous, get rich. Economic growth surges, but only the wealthy benefit. Just 240,000 out of 35 million can vote. The Industrial Revolution brings wealth and misery. Workers toil in slums with no rights or hope. The government crushes strikes and ignores the poor. Political opposition grows. Legitimists want the Bourbons back, while Republicans and Socialists see the regime as a betrayal. Secret societies, assassination attempts, and uprisings punctuate Louis-Philippe's reign. The throne is never secure. The gap between rich and poor widens dangerously. The July monarchy is a compromise that pleases no one. Discontent simmers beneath the surface. The citizen king rules on borrowed time. France is a volcano, ready to erupt. The 1830s and 1840s are years of constant unrest. Rumors and fears spread quickly, sparking riots and protests. The government modernizes Paris, paving streets, installing gas lights to control the city and prevent barricades. Secret Republican societies plot revolution in taverns and back rooms. Radical ideas, socialism, anarchism, take root among workers, offering hope against the get-rich ethos of the regime. The government responds with repression, censorship, arrests, and harsh laws. Political cartoonists like Daumier are jailed for mocking the king. Louis-Philippe, once the approachable citizen king, becomes isolated and paranoid. The refusal to expand voting rights creates a pressure cooker. The working class grows restless, the regime more brittle. Intellectual ferment and social tension build toward a breaking point. The monarchy is out of touch, and the people are ready for change. Revolution is in the air. The final crisis begins with a banquet. In 1847, opposition leaders organize political banquets to demand reform. The government bans the last banquet in Paris, sparking mass protests. A tragic shooting by soldiers turns anger into insurrection. Barricades rise overnight. The National Guard joins the people. Louis-Philippe abdicates and flees to England. The monarchy is abolished. The Second Republic is proclaimed. After decades of compromise and conflict, the Age of Kings ends. The revolution triumphs once more. These dark years were a relentless cycle of revolution and reaction. France experiments with monarchy, parliament, and political freedom. The struggle for identity, liberty, and justice shapes a new nation. The lessons of these years echo far beyond the barricades of Paris.